Batman. Not just a superhero, but the superhero. He's the platonic ideal of what one man can do with just the will to act, a steely determination to sharpen his mind and body to the task at hand, and many, many billions of dollars.
What are your superpowers again?
I'm rich.
But is he actually doing good in a holistic way? That's to say, if you look at the overall picture, is Batman preventing more crimes than he commits? It's a question that we're finally in a position to answer thanks to technology. Employing Fandom's cutting-edge superhero analytics, we can finally crack the justice to mayhem ratio once and for all. This is Batman by the numbers. Every new version of Batman operates by his own moral code and enjoys a different kind of relationship with the Gotham police. The original 1966 TV take on the character was a full-fledged, formerly deputized member of the Gotham Police Department.
Batman and Robin are fully deputized agents of the law.
This approach makes it extremely hard for us to quantify anything Batman does as a crime, as he's no longer a vigilante operating outside the law, but a legal arm of the Gotham City government.
I'll bash him brutally.
I say his official working relationship with law enforcement renders this version an outlier, so we'll start our actual analysis with the next chronological live-action adventures, Tim Burton's Batman films. Tim Burton's two Batman films introduce us to a Dark Knight who operates with the tacit acknowledgement of Gotham's leadership.
He gave us a signal.
But he's not fully deputized, and thus only operates as a quasi-official offshoot of local law enforcement. So this Bruce Wayne is committing a lot of crimes. Over the course of Batman and its sequel Batman Returns, the Caped Crusader genuinely does the people of Gotham a lot of good. He prevents a number of them from being poisoned by toxic gas during a spontaneous Joker parade. He saves vital photojournalist Vicky Vale's life a few times, and he prevents the villainous Penguin from becoming the mayor, though this also counts as election interference depending on your perspective. But let's run this film through our patented Fandom AI analytics software to get an idea for the cost of all this do-goodery to the tranquility of Gotham streets and the peace of mind of its citizenry.
Scanning. Analysis complete. Displaying results. Misdemeanors and non-violent offenses. Trespassing. Operating an underground and regulated gambling business. Eavesdropping. Trespassing.
Hold it right there.
Leaving the scene of an accident. Obstruction of justice. Speeding. Theft, leaving the scene of an accident. Vandalism, stalking, possession of toxic chemicals, disrupting public services, broadcast signal intrusion, traffic and public safety violations, operation of an unlicensed vehicle, traffic violations, abandoning a vehicle in the road,
Shields up.
operating a full-sized remote-controlled vehicle on public streets without a permit, flying an aircraft without proper certification below minimum safe altitudes over a congested urban area, reckless driving, leaving the scene of an accident, numerous hang gliding-related safety violations, resisting arrest, evading a law enforcement officer, another vehicle of dubious legality, violent crimes, assault with a deadly weapon, reckless endangerment, attempted murder, assault, endangerment, manslaughter, assault, multiple homicides, criminal negligence, attempted murder and countless firearms violations, murder, assault, vehicular manslaughter, murder, assaulting a man just for being in a clown costume, murder, assault, attempted murder, assault. In Tim Burton's Batman films, Bruce Wayne commits 16 non-violent offenses, 10 traffic or public safety violations, and 19 violent crimes, including over 10 unprovoked assaults and 7 or 8 homicides.
Thank you, Fanda. At the end of 2 films, Burton's Batman commits 45 separate crimes in his quest to prevent 3 major ones. As an aside, across all the Batman films, Batcave construction likely also violated any number of residential zoning laws, plus geological or environmental impact studies would have alerted authorities to the presence of the Batman, so obviously they just weren't done at all. So that's a lot of mayhem to balance out the added security. Let's see how it stacks up against Joel Schumacher's neon-soaked follow-ups. The Schumacher films largely return to the 60s format, where Batman is deputized. But they're also more troubling than the Burton films, in that the story is about Batman training protégés to join him in taking the law into their own hands and committing all of these felonies. This has to be weighed against the positive results of his Batmaning. Val Kilmer's Batman prevents the Riddler from draining Gothamites' brain power, though we're not 100% clear on what this actually does to them. And George Clooney's Dark Knight stops Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy from freezing the entire city, and simultaneously covering it in plants, I guess. Also in this scene, Two-Face offers to disable a bomb if Batman will identify himself, and Bruce Wayne makes a really weak effort to come clean.
I'm Batman!
he goes right into battle mode instead of raising his voice above the crowd. And if he had turned himself in, Dick Grayson's entire acrobat family would have survived. Bruce doesn't even get rid of the bomb, Dick does that. All in all, this is maybe the least heroic sequence in Batman movie history, though it's not quite criminal. So keeping this in mind, let's fire up Fanda and get a feel for what additional crimes these two Batmen are knee-deep in. Fanda?
Scanning. Scanning. Analysis complete. Displaying results. Misdemeanors and non-violent offenses. Possession and use of a prohibited weapon. Stealing this guy's hearing aid. Breaking and entering. Destruction of property.
I've really got to get you out of those clothes.
Excuse me?
Sexual harassment.
The prototype with the sonar modifications you invented, but you haven't tested it yet.
Not only using illegal equipment, but untested.
Tonight's a good night.
Polluting Gotham Harbor with all of this fat sub-debris. Illegal concealed weapons. Pointless to destroy this carved in great detail door. There's no further element of surprise.
A bat bomb!
Construction, possession, and use of an explosive device.
Gotham University lab, security video.
Hacking, illegal surveillance, invasion of privacy.
Wayne Enterprises can immediately cease all actions that toxify our environment.
Wayne Enterprises is apparently a significant corporate polluter.
7 million.
Bank fraud and credit card forgery. Creating a hostile work environment.
Great stems, though.
Buds, too.
Yeah, those are nice.
Human medical experimentation. Impersonating a doctor. Traffic and public safety violations. Reckless endangerment. Obstructing a driver's view. Batman is largely responsible for this tragic helicopter crash, resulting in potentially millions of dollars to a notable Gotham landmark. Base jumping without a permit. Driving a vehicle in a safety zone. This also violates the laws of physics. Another clearly unlawful base jump. Unlicensed experimental vehicles. Street racing. Landmark defacement. More unlicensed unregulated vehicles. Violent crimes. Either reckless endangerment or negligent homicide if these guys drown. Aggravated assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. Aggravated assault. Assault with a deadly weapon. In Joel Schumacher's Batman films, Bruce Wayne commits 15 non-violent offenses, 10 traffic and public safety violations, and 4 violent crimes.
Thank you, Fanda. Schumacher's Batman commits 29 crimes to protect his neon-soaked Gotham, but it's all worth it to stop Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy from stopping global warming and saving the environment, I guess. Interestingly, Schumacher's films feature a far less violent and aggressive Batman. This gentler take on the character relies more on his wits and a well-aimed batarang to save the day. Though, to be fair, there's no way he could have known this would actually do anything. Batman only wins at the end of Batman Forever because the Riddler's calculation about him not having enough time to save both Dr. Chase and Robin was wrong. A slightly shorter drop and someone dies. Oh well, not a crime. A few quick notes up top before we run the Nolan-verse Batman films through our very real Fanda computer system that we did not just make up for this video. First, we're only going to start the calculation for Bruce Wayne's debut as Batman. Anything prior to this would just count as Bruce Wayne, private citizen and billionaire, doing street crimes. It will not count against his professional Batman career stats. Also worth noting that in Batman Begins and the first 4/5 of The Dark Knight, Batman remains semi-deputized by Gotham PD and sanctioned by Jim Gordon. It's only after he ignores Gordon's directive and goes after the Joker's men during the Dark Knight climax that he fully breaks from law enforcement.
No! There's no time!
Finally, in The Dark Knight, Batman's kidnapping of Lau from Hong Kong is extremely troubling, legally speaking. In addition to just being kidnapping by any fair definition of the term, consider also that the massive risk to Lau's life that Batman's taking by using an experimental CIA technique from the 60s to literally pull him out of an office building and into a passing plane. If Batman's measurements were off here by even a few inches, Lau could have easily died. Then this one act would have represented an international diplomatic incident and a homicide, plus Gotham would have lost their most important witness against the mob. So keeping in mind that in 2 of the Nolan films, Batman does save the entire city of Gotham from being completely annihilated, let's go to the computer and see what crimes he had to commit to get that done.
Scanning. Scanning. Analysis complete. Displaying results. Misdemeanors and non-violent offenses. Brandishing a weapon. Resisting arrest. Manufacturing possession of illegal weapons. Trespassing. Trespassing. Illegal surveillance and eavesdropping.
Batman, put down your weapons and surrender. You're surrounded.
Resisting arrest. Destruction of government property.
Stay calm.
Kidnapping. Human medical experimentation.
My security clearance has been revoked.
That won't stop a man like you now, would it?
Conspiracy to commit fraud and access classified documents.
Company went public a week ago.
And I bought most of the shares.
Through various charitable foundations, trusts, and so forth.
Money laundering and fraud. Interference with a crime scene. Evidence tampering. Illegal surveillance. Stalking.
What about the flight crew?
South Korean smugglers.
By funding smugglers, Bruce has committed a RICO violation. Illegal surveillance. Hacking. Illegal surveillance. Interference with a crime scene and evidence tampering. Illegally accessing police records. Illegally accessing police records.
I know you came here from your walk up in Old Town, a modest place for a master jewel thief.
Stalking, evading arrest, trespassing, escaping prison, and freeing all the other prisoners. Arson. Traffic and public safety violations. Unlicensed experimental vehicle. Batman's behavior here combines a vast number of crimes, including destruction of property, trespassing, resisting arrest, and driving in an unsafe manner in an unsanctioned area. Unauthorized and potentially hazardous base jumping, and hang gliding within city limits.
You can't stop this train. Who said anything about stopping it?
Conspiracy to destroy a major public transit system. Destruction of property, trespassing, reckless driving, bomb making, activating an explosive device, vandalizing or outright destroying dozens of cars at once. Driving a motorcycle through a pedestrian zone, recklessly endangering dozens of people. These explosions are potentially injuring bystanders, and they're totally unnecessary. Reckless endangerment, vandalism, reckless driving. Speeding, reckless driving, reckless driving. Using an explosive device, operating an experimental aircraft without proper certification in a crowded metropolitan area. More illegal flying of the bat around the city. Violent crimes. Assault. Multiple assaults. Aggravated assault.
I'm Batman.
This kind of blunt head trauma could easily kill an older man like Falcone. Assault. Reckless endangerment. Torture. Aggravated assault. Aggravated assault. Multiple aggravated assaults.
Taste of your own medicine, Doctor.
Use of chemical weapons, a war crime. Training animals to attack humans. Murder or attempted murder of police officers. Assault. Attempted murder. Assaults. More assaults. Still more assaults. Assault and battery. Assault. Assaults plus obstruction. Assaulting police officers. Felony assault. Attempted murder of 4 cops. Animal abuse. Assault. Torture.
Where's the trigger?
In Christopher Nolan's Batman films, Bruce Wayne commits 27 nonviolent offenses, 21 public safety or traffic violations, and 24 violent crimes.
Good work, Fanda. We knew Nolan's Batman wouldn't disappoint, clocking in our current high score of 72 crimes to protect the city of Gotham twice. Overall, a more intense and brutal Batman than the Schumacher and Burton films. In fact, taken together, the Nolan films present us with our most violent Batman of all.
One day, the Batman will have to answer for the laws he's broken.
In fairness, the stakes are a lot higher than just an island that hoovers up your nightmares. At least in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises, both pit Bruce against city-destroying threats. But The Dark Knight's really more a battle of ideas? Batman's not even instrumental in saving the people on the ferry who puzzle their way out of things on their own. Plus, it's the cops who clear that exploding hospital of patients. Bats only manages to save half of Harvey Dent's face. He's really just phoning it in this one. Which brings us, at last, to the so-called DCEU continuity, featuring Ben Affleck as an aging Dark Knight who already got one apprentice killed off-screen. You have your dead ward's costume on display in your house? Huh. Anyway, these films add a few layers of complication to our project, mainly because Batman v Superman and Justice League present wildly different depictions of Batman's relationship with the GCPD. In BVS, he's a self-proclaimed outlaw who is, at best, tolerated by the authorities.
We're criminals, Alfred. We've always been criminals. Nothing's changed.
In the Whedon cut of Justice League, however, he's a trusted friend to Commissioner Gordon, who speaks fondly in public about their little chats.
I'll talk to him tonight.
Suicide Squad confuses matters even further by establishing that Batman's also a federal law enforcement asset, accepting specific targets and assignments from intelligence officer Amanda Waller.
I just gave an anonymous tip to the right guy in Gotham City.
Perhaps this is why Batman v Superman presents us with the single most violent Batman in any film to date, while Justice League softens Batfleck into a mysterious and shadowy social worker. But let's turn to our trusty Fanda system and crunch some actual numbers.
Scanning. Analysis complete. Displaying results. Misdemeanors and nonviolent offenses. Evading arrest. Illegally accessing classified documents. Participating in illegal underground bare-knuckle boxing ring. Illegal phone hacking. Illegal surveillance. Trespassing. Corporate espionage.
It is now aboard the White Portuguese being delivered to Lex Luthor, who I am to steal it from.
Conspiracy to commit grand larceny.
If we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. And we have to destroy him.
Conspiracy to commit murder. Trespassing.
Do you plead? You will.
Making death threats. Tampering with a crime scene.
His name is Waylon Jones. He was chased out of Gotham by the Bat.
Serial harassment.
If anyone knew what I procured for you, my head will be on a pike.
Consider yourself under my protection. If you deliver.
Bribing a federal official. Unauthorized receipt of classified information.
I put a tracking device in his coat.
Illegal surveillance.
You have somebody at the prison?
Oh, yeah.
Bribing a correctional officer. Breaking and entering. Conspiracy to desecrate a corpse. Criminal trespass on a construction site. Criminal trespass on a military facility. Accessory to desecrating a corpse. Traffic and public safety violations. Extremely reckless driving in an emergency zone. And what are those lights on top of his SUV? Is he impersonating a Metropolis City official? Again with a clearly not legal experimental aircraft tooling around a busy downtown area. Reckless driving. Reckless endangerment. Reckless endangerment. Unauthorized base jumping. Violent crimes. Torture and aggravated assault. Vehicular homicide. 2 more murders. A few more murders. At least 2. The shooter and the driver. Batman is directly responsible for this accident, causing 2 more deaths. Attempted murder. And millions of dollars in property damage. Batman's assault on LexCorp. Breaking and entering. Assault. Destruction of property. Grand larceny. Assault with a deadly substance. Possession and distribution of dangerous toxic chemicals. Followed by a string of aggravated assaults with a deadly weapon. I think with Superman's weakened state this counts as attempted murder. Another attempt at super murder. Torture. Assault with a deadly weapon. Murders. Many aggravated assaults. I don't think a grenade can be pinned on Batman. It's not his grenade. He murders a henchman with his spray. This could be fatal if the guy's neck snapped. Stalking. Assault. Assault. In the DCEU Batman films, Bruce Wayne commits 20 non-violent offenses, 6 traffic and public safety violations, and 23 violent crimes, including at least 7 homicides, war crimes, and torture.
Notably in Justice League, Batman saves the entire world from certain destruction while committing only 1 violent crime. In Batman v Superman, the most violent single Batman adventure to date, and a film constructed entirely around Batman trying to kill someone, he saves Superman's mom, and that's about it. So according to Fandom, the DCEU Bats falls just short of Nolan's numbers, committing a paltry 49 crimes to save the world, and one of his most beloved Marthas. Let's compare the total scores. Nolan's Batman is the crimiest crime fighter of them all, but he had an extra film to do his damage. Of the remaining, the DCEU Bats has the highest crime to save ratio. So the final reckoning is at hand. Throughout his theatrical career, Batman saves Gotham, if not the world, on 6 separate occasions. I think we can all agree that it's worth it when something so big is at stake, until you realize Gotham wouldn't be in danger at all if Bruce Wayne just drank blood and built spaceships like a normal billionaire. And Weighed Against All the Good is a truly impressive rap sheet. Over Batman's cinematic career, he commits 78 non-violent crimes, 41 public safety violations, and 65 violent crimes. He's like a one-man crime wave. Batman! Arrest that Batman! So is this a lesson the next generation of Batman and possibly Batwomen will embrace? Should we have taken 4 more hours to redo the numbers for the Snyder Cut? Only time will tell, and yes, probably. But at least now we know for certain that more Batman does not equal less crime. That's just the numbers.